What's up? Hey, hello everyone. Today we are here finally doing our Survivor Season 31 Second Chance Episode 10 and 11 review podcast. It was a crazy double episode this past week, and it was crazy because it wasn't even like one dud episode or both dud episodes. It was like two really amazing episodes that it really had a great storyline throughout the 2 hours, and we were so excited. This is great. So my name is Rachel.
And I'm Alyssa. Sorry that this video is later than normal, guys. We had some technical difficulties in which my computer was like, update me. And I was like, no. And then it went and updated itself. Computers. But you can comment down below who you think the MVP of these episodes were, because we had a lot of power players and we had a lot of people making big moves, and we want to know your opinion on who did it best.
Yeah, we'll comment our MVP pick along with who we think is going to be voted out next episode at the end of this podcast. So yeah, I think this time we're not going to go in chronological order, but we're going to do we're going to start with the Sierra Tribal Council, then we're going to do the Fishback Tribal Council, then we can go back and talk about the rock draw and the idols and stuff like that, because we feel that the tribal councils really had a great storyline going through them, and it really the first episode of the night really built up for the second episode, and it was amazing. Okay. Yes, so first tribal council. Yes, everyone is afraid of Fish's advantage, and he's like, it's a disadvantage now. So I don't know, I feel like that jumping in for the buoys really gave Fish a bigger target on his back.
Yeah, he already had a decent sized target, because he's a known strategist and stuff. But I think that getting this advantage that no one knows when he's going to use it or how he's going to use it really made it a lot bigger for him.
So do you think it's better to jump in front of everyone to get the advantage, or to not get the advantage and just not have it?
I mean, seeing how the advantage ended up for him, I think hindsight is 20/20, and I wouldn't have jumped in.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I might have jumped in and then not tried my best to get the advantage. Because if Spencer had gotten it, then Spencer would be the one with the target on his back. And I think it shows how desperate you are in the game to jump off. And people thinking that you're scared of them. So if they're like, oh yeah, Steven's so scared of me, it'll be no problem getting him out. It's gonna be pretty easy to come from behind and fool them all.
Yeah, I feel like since it was in front of everyone, that just gives people a reason to want to vote you out, because everyone wants to save their own behind. So then any reason is a good reason to vote someone out. So it's with the idols, you don't know who has it, so it's sort of secretive and you don't know who's going to have that target. But then with that advantage, everyone sees that you have it, and then with Fishback being a know-it-all, I think, yeah, that sort of pushed him over the edge. And they were trying to vote Steven out the episode 10 and episode 11, so I feel like it was a thing coming to him. But yes.
Yeah.
Jeremy saving Fishes.
The first time. And yes. I spent the entire tribal council being like, will he or won't he? Because I think I pretty much knew that Fish was going to get the majority of the votes, just because he's not in the majority voting block, even though they're starting to resemble alliances more and more now that we're getting towards fewer people. But he wasn't in the majority, and I'm kind of doubting the efficacy of Jeremy's move, whether or not it really did him better in the long run. If he gets to the final tribal, he's definitely going to be able to say, here's a move that demonstrates how loyal I am, how great I am. But at the same time, it was kind of a waste of an idol, since he wasted he used an idol on someone who ended up just going home the next episode. And ideally, if you use an idol, you'd like to make it like a long-term difference in the game. Like it gives your alliance the majority again, or like it makes it easier for you to make more game-changing moves rather than just having it. So it's you use it once and you're done. So
Oh, okay. Sorry, there's someone was calling on the phone, and then I had to mute myself, and then I didn't. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, with the Jeremy thing, I definitely see like a lot of people were saying that like Jeremy's move was like bad and stuff. But I feel like him playing the idol for fish, it got like what he wanted to do that episode. And you can't really like see into the future that like, oh, fish is gonna be voted out next time. Well, I don't want to waste the idol this time and like save him. But it's like what Jeremy did for Fishback, it saved him this time. And it didn't like ultimately change the outcome of next tribal council, but he played the idol well because it did save Fish and it wasn't like a wasted idol. Like Fish didn't even have like the majority of the votes, so he wouldn't even have gone home anyway. So I don't know, I think it was a good move for like that time being because you can't see into the future, so it's like he saved Fish and that's the goal of what he wanted to do, to keep Fish back around since he's like the #1 loyal friend ally. And I guess now he sort of has more jury votes because Fish will vote for him on the jury and maybe some of the other people, because like playing an idol for yourself, yeah, but like playing the idol for someone else, that like that might sway some people on the jury. And it's a good resume builder for Jeremy. So
and
yeah.
yeah, moving
But
forward to the next tribal council,
no,
kind of.
stay on this tribal council.
No, I'm like making a comment that's
Okay.
relevant to the next tribal council. If Steven had played his advantage like correctly, he might have been able to stay around for the next like 3 days. Mm, yeah. So if Steven had played the advantage correctly, then I think that Jeremy's idol would have been used slightly better because it would have been that kept Steven around long enough to be able to play his advantage and change the game.
Yeah, do you think at this first tribal council that Jeremy should have just let Fishback go? Because at that time there's like 10 people left, and then so it's really hard to try to keep your #1, #2 for like the amount of tribal councils left. So do you think he should have just not have played the idol for Fish and just let him hang loose, let him go?
I mean, I think that should Fishback ever find out that Jeremy had an idol, like if Jeremy had theoretically voted Steven out this tribal council and then the next tribal council played an idol, I feel like that would be a great way to lose a jury vote. Like, you were supposed to be my biggest ally and you didn't protect me, even though you had 2 immunity idols. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah, the idol, I don't know. It didn't really change much of the game, and now Fish still gets voted out the next time. But it's like that's the way the people were going. You can't really stop it because they wanted you out this time. Like nothing changed. They were going to want you out next time. And yeah, the voting blocks thing sort of came to bite Fish in the butt because then Spencer flopped the first time and voted Steven, and then Spencer flopped the second time and also voted Steven. So
I can't
Spencer's
really like find the motivation behind Spencer's actions. Like if he had stayed with Jeremy and Steven and the girls, I feel like that would have been more beneficial for him in the long run because like in an alliance with Joe, he's never gonna win individual immunity. And like in an alliance with Jeremy, Jeremy's like a power player, but Spencer still has a chance. So
yeah, for like the MVP thing, I was gonna pick Spencer because I feel like him going with like Wentworth and Abby and Joe and Keith, like that puts Spencer in a really good position because now he has like the voting out Fishback move under his belt for his resume. Like he's sort of like on both sides. Like Jeremy and Fish trusted him enough to tell him like what the advantage was in the second episode. So like now, I don't know how it'll play out, but then it's like he's sort of the swing-ish next episode when it's 4-4, and like he's in a good position because if he does go with like Wentworth and Keith and like them, he could potentially win the game because besides like Wentworth, I don't think Joe can win the game just by winning all these individual immunity challenges. And like Keith's not doing much.
Yeah, I mean, I see the like logic behind that. Like, obviously, like no one's gonna respect Joe if he gets to the final tribal council because like he never really strategized. He
Yeah.
like sat on his throne of immunity, and even like this episode, he didn't really strategize that much. He just pointed the finger. Like,
Yeah, Joe was just like,
there's a difference between like turning everyone against someone else and just repeating what happened last week. And I feel like
yeah.
Joe, instead of like choosing someone to vote out, he just was like, well, you guys want to vote out Steven, let's do that.
Yeah, Joe sort of just like acted calm and just like sat there while like Spencer and Wentworth were really the ones that are like talking with Abby, you know, trying to get like Abby to not go crazy. So kudos for them to like keep her calm and not go crazy. But yeah, so at the first tribal, like I feel like like the three witches are getting too strong, and then the alliance with like Jeremy and Steven, and then if you want to stick Kimmy or Tasha in there, is getting too strong. So it's really good for all the other players that like they realized that, and so they got out Sierra out the first time, so that like disassembles the witch alliance. So then there's just two of them, so they have sort of less power, and then they can like free agents ish, and then the second tribal getting out Fish back, that really hinders the Jeremy alliance a lot. So that's good on them doing that because now I feel like it's more alliance-y. So they need to like get rid of, because yeah, right now after the Sierra vote, it's 9 people, so it's a 5-4 vote. So if we go into the second tribal council, it's sort of like good, I guess, for like Wentworth and Spencer that they didn't just vote Joe out when he lost immunity, which would be like the typical thing to do because you want Joe gone since he's immunity challenge beast. But like,
I'm still not sure it was their best decision not to vote Joe out because like it's nice like just to have like a break for 3 days to not like be thinking about like, oh, I'm going out this next tribal council. And like I think that some of them need that mental break because I don't know about you, but I can see some people slowly like slipping into insanity. And like I think that some of them need like the like rest that having individual immunity once would provide. And I'm not sure if they realize it like in the moment just how psychotic they're starting to look to like the people at home. But like some of them, I feel like winning immunity would really better their mental state and allow them to play better. But I don't know.
yeah, I feel like this time it was good for like the Wentworth Spencer group because it was like a 5-4 split. And so yeah, 5-4, no, I'm confused now. I'm confusing myself. But they needed Joe's vote, like an easy vote to get Fish out because it was 5-4. So right now they have the 5, and then sort of the other group has the 4. Yeah, but they just needed Joe's vote this time, and I feel like next time Joe loses, then he'll be gone. But they definitely needed to use Joe this episode to get ultimately like a bigger target out of the game and Fish back. Sad though, because we love Fish, but using Joe, so Joe was just like a pawn in their numbers, so no kudos to Joe. But
I mean, I just think like they're banking on that there will be a next time Joe loses.
yeah, that's
And
also
like I Personally, I wouldn't like those odds. Like, it takes him 5 immunity challenges to finally lose. Like, mm,
Yeah,
and the
that's also a problem. Joe could win his way like to the end, and that'll like wrinkle in people's plans. But I feel like it'd be good to go against Joe in the end, because what did Joe really do on his resume so far? Oh yeah, you win 4 challenges, but like I don't know. That doesn't, you need to have like winning challenges, strategizing, like being on the bottom, so then you like work your way back up, so then you have like that resume to show the jury.
yeah, I don't know. I just think part of it is if they have a final like 2 instead of a final 3, but it's starting to look more and more like they're having a final 3. But like,
Yeah.
if they have a final 2, then Joe essentially chooses who he's going
Oh, yeah.
and like in a in the final tribal council between Joe and Keith,
Then Joe
who
might
would you
win.
choose? It's like a lose-lose situation because like Keith didn't really do much, but Joe didn't really do much either, but he did a little bit.
He
So
did win, yeah. Well, we'll hope it doesn't really come down to that. But like, yeah, Jeremy's shield thing is working, I think, because good for Jeremy playing the idol, but now like people won't think he has a second idol, which I think we might see come up in next week's episode. But Jeremy's shield thing is working because people targeted Steven this whole time, these past 2 episodes. No one even said let's like vote out Jeremy. Like they still want him around, even though he is a huge target. So they're taking out Jeremy, and like Joe's the target, that he'll be hopefully someone that goes before Jeremy goes. So Jeremy's got a good thing going.
part of it is I wonder like what has Jeremy lost by like losing Steven? Like I feel like in a way Steven was like the eyes and ears of that alliance. Like he always knew what was happening, except for obviously when it really mattered. So I feel like Jeremy, like he might need to like pull someone in so that he has like stronger numbers, or he needs to like do something so that he has like that number 1 person that he can go to again. Because I think playing the game with like someone you know that you can trust is a lot more satisfying and easier to cope with than like having to spend 39 days like who can I trust? Who can I trust? So
Yeah, definitely. I think when we do our predictions for next week at the end of this podcast, I feel like Jeremy losing his right-hand man will definitely come into play next week when we talk about it later, because like now he's sort of like he's all alone. He has like Tasha and Kimmy, but it's like his bae and Steven Fishback is gone. Do you want to talk about the split vote at Tribal? The second, yeah.
sure. I think that they're really bad at determining when they do and do not need split votes.
Yeah, what is this? The third time this season? First one, Savage got booted. Second one, Sierra, sort of.
Well, I
I
would
don't know, but
also
then they
say
got
that
Kimmy, but
not
then
splitting the vote for Kelly would be considered a bad vote.
yeah, and that one.
That was savage, right? So
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I understand when you think you have the numbers, but when you think about it, how likely is it that Joe has an idol? Like, if I was Joe, I wouldn't waste my time and my energy looking for that idol just because I just wouldn't. So I think that splitting it between Joe and Abby was nonsensical. And if they hadn't split it, then they would have had all the votes they needed to vote Joe out. So it was one of those situations where like everyone was like, "Ooh, we're gonna see the advantage played really well because it's Fishback," and, and it was played, I guess, with the information they had. He played it well because still thought Spencer was on his side, but I don't know. I think that there came a point where he told way too many people about the advantage.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, I mean, it's the risk that you sort of have to take on Survivor, I guess, because it's like they don't know for sure that Joe does or does not have the idol. Like, you can't really figure that out. And like or on like some of like the exit things and like people's like posts, they were saying how like Joe was just sort of like all calm the whole afternoon, not playing it, like not like, the
Scramble.
word, yeah, like doing that and like trying to strategize. So then they were thinking like, oh, Joe's so calm, he's got to have like protection tonight. So then, yeah, it's something like you have to risk because you don't know if all your bases are covered. And so, right, for Fish's plan, so he using Joe's vote would vote for Joe. Fish using Fish's own vote would vote for Abby. And then
Jeremy and Abby would vote for Joe, and Tasha and Spencer would vote for Abby. And then the remaining 3 would vote for...
Oh, so then it's just Keith and Wentworth voting for Fish, so then it would have worked if Abby and Fishback were straight up on their side.
Right? It was Spencer, I think, who screwed it up, not Abby.
Yeah, Spencer voted for Fish, and Abby also voted for Fish after like talking with Spencer and Wentworth. So I think more of Fish because they trusted more of Spencer. They thought Spencer was legit on their side, so they thought it would work. But then, yeah, Abby also voted for Fishback, so it was like a 4 for Fish, and then 3 for Abby, or 2 for Abby, and 2 for Joe. So it's just crazy at the end because all the votes were like all over the place. But yeah, if they didn't split the vote, then I think then Abby would be going home. Or if they picked Abby over Joe or whoever they picked, that person would be going home. If they didn't split the votes, and then Spencer and Abby did vote for Fish as they did in the real tribal. So very confusing. It's a lot of numbers. Yeah. But yeah, that's like, I don't know, the risk you have to take, like Fish's risk he had to take. He played the advantage and then was voted out. But he's happy.
That happens sometimes, so.
Yeah. I'm happy he's like content with his game. He's not going to have the whole like, what if, like with the JT thing. So that's good for him. He needs to close this episode in his life and not be so stressed out all the time.
How many times have we said episode in this podcast?
Probably a lot.
New drinking game. Every time you hear the word episode, take a shot. So first episode was, well, both episodes, the monsoon season. That looked rough.
I know, their feet were all like, they looked like prunes.
Yeah, like the bottoms of their feet were all white and like I like the rain. And I consider myself a person who's like chill with the rain. But
You'd
even
sit outside?
when it raining like 20 days straight.
Yeah. Especially, yeah, then you can't get dry, you can't get warm, the wind is cold, like that would just suck some major suckage a lot. But yeah, Steven's hashtag severe gastrointestinal distress. I'm surprised CBS didn't stick that on a hashtag. He said you can hashtag it, and they didn't do it.
Right? I think it might just be too long to hashtag. Like, it would go like halfway across.
Yeah, sucks for Fish, and then he had swollen feet, and then Abby called him poopy pants.
I just thought that was rude. Like, come on, man.
Poopy pants? Ah, so funny.
I just liked it that when she said it, everyone else was confused. Like,
you're like, what?
Huh? So, yeah, I just think the worst part about it was the fact that, like, even when they were in their shelter, they weren't dry.
Yeah, and then it really hindered, like, gameplay. So it's sort of good that, like, at the immunity challenge, they did do the rock draw, because no one really wants to see all the people suffering out there, and then they can't even, like, strategize and play the game, so.
I mean, part of it also was we were talking about this like as the show was happening, but like Joe was like, "Oh, you can just suck it up," but like the girls out there are like sticks. Like they don't have the body fat that you need to keep warm in the cold.
Yeah, so I didn't like that comment when Joe picked the Rock to do the immunity challenge, and then Jeff Probst was like, "Why did you do that?" Then he's like, "Oh, well, I can just suck it up some more." And it's like, yeah, okay, you cannot sit in the good shelter. Then you can sit outside in the rain.
Yeah, for the next 12 days if you make it that far.
Yeah, so Jeff Probst at the immunity challenge gave them all like the white and black rocks, and then he's like 5 need to give up immunity to get the swag shelter. And so it was crazy because 8 people did, all except for Joe and Keith. Like I wouldn't think it would be like that majority of people would give up their chance for immunity for shelter. But I guess it's like a testament to show like how bad the conditions were.
I was like running through scenarios in my head, and in like all the scenarios I was running, I could only find 6 people who would all like flip their rocks reliably. And I was just really surprised that like Jeremy, for one, didn't choose immunity because like he was one of the people that had like a solid shot. But when I was like thinking about it, I was thinking that the people who would flip over their rocks would be the people like Fishback who didn't really have a chance at winning immunity. So, yeah.
Yeah, and he's suffering a lot.
Yeah.
But yes, Rockjaw, that was really interesting. And then they got the really nice shelter. Yay.
I was really pissed off that Joe won immunity again, just because, like, we talked about this last week, but it's not fun to see the same person.
Yeah, I know. And that counts towards his 4 immunity wins. He only had to beat 1 person. It's not even like a true immunity win.
Yeah.
You get 3.5 immunity wins.
But the challenge, it was over pretty quickly, like in the scheme of the episode. I think they only showed the immunity challenge like 2 minutes tops, mostly because there wasn't much to show. Like, I think during the immunity challenges, Jeff normally tries to like give a comment to each person before they get out, and that takes some time. But yeah.
Yeah, it was really quick. Like they stood up there, 1 foot, Keith's ball falls. Oh, Joe wins again. Yeah.
So then we had the Sierra Tribal Council, which we thought about, which we talked already.
Do you think that this was $1 million mistake for Sierra?
Honestly, I'm not sure if she could have won anyways. And like, she wouldn't. There's no way she would have been able to win immunity against Joe, and Keith. Partly because she's so much shorter than them, so she'd have to hold her arms up a lot higher, which would get like more fatiguing a lot more quickly. And also part of it is people have been gunning for her for the past like 3 episodes, and I'm not sure if that would stop. And
yeah,
it might buy her an extra 3 days, but it definitely wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think it was $1 million mistake either. I feel like it has been coming these past few episodes, and now it's like it came to an end for Sierra, which is very sad.
Coup de grace.
Yeah, it was coming. They, the witches have been like on the hot seat. So, and she wasn't even like voted out legit. Like she got idled out. So it's like, and now she has another rock, like in her season drawing rocks. They get rocks. Yay.
So, yep.
Survivor folklore. That was really cool to see. Like at night, them running around and all the torches, and like Fish won even with his fat feet. Like that was crazy. And then he beat Spencer by 1 like millisecond again, just like the buoy thing. So maybe Spencer's all like, man, Fish keeps beating me. You need to get him out.
Why he flipped. My sister and I, when we were watching it, we were screaming because we both really wanted Fish to win. And our dad like came down and was like, "What are you screaming about?" And we were like, "Survivor." And he was like, And then he told us to stop screaming, but then we screamed during the immunity challenge, so.
Oh, true. Yeah, and then Steven tricking Abby by like lifting the middle lid when the answer was really archers, and Abby just ran away so quick. That was so funny.
I just can't believe that she didn't even bother to like think about it for herself. Like, imagine the sass that would have come Steven's way if like she actually looked at it and was like, wait a second, that's not right.
Yeah, I know. I think like online she was like tweeting some things how like she realized like it was archers, but she was already like running back or something. It was a funny, sneaky fish back.
So
Look at
something else that happened that's worth talking about is Kelly found the immunity idol clue, and
yeah, and then also before that, do you think like Steven's choices of picking Tasha and no, Jeremy is the right pick, because it really did show like who's like the pecking order of their alliance, because after that, like Spencer was all like, they're closer than I will ever be with them. So
I mean, part of it is there was no way Fish would not choose Jeremy.
yeah.
Like, in every possible scenario, Fish had to choose Jeremy because like Jeremy was like the reason he was still there to win that immunity or that reward challenge. Tasha, I mean, I think that Tasha, that was something he could have done like on his own, like in the shelter or something. I feel like Spencer was definitely the more volatile of the two, and he should have chosen Spencer.
Yeah, Spencer voted against them the first tribal, and so did Tasha, but then Tasha seemed like she was more like in her like secret scenes. It was like you can leave me out of the loop once, but like the second time. So I feel like she's more easy to swing back than Spencer was. So I don't know. What, do you just not win these reward challenges that you get to pick people to go on, so you don't like show your alliance?
It definitely makes it a lot easier because, like, if Spencer had won and chosen Steven, he still would have gotten the same benefits. He just wouldn't have, like, put that target on his back.
Yeah, it's lots of factors playing in. It's very interesting. I was like, what if you accidentally light someone on fire with those torches?
I think they probably had a medical team.
We'll see next week. But yeah, Kelly Wentworth idol.
Well, she found the clue in the immunity challenge or the reward challenge, and I was kind of about that. Like, anyone could find the idol clue. I didn't really like it as much, just because, like, it just doesn't really make sense. Like, it was random. Like, anyone could have gotten to it first. And then, like, finding the actual immunity idol, I feel like, it was kind of, like, very China-esque, where, like, the immunity idol was hidden in plain sight. So, I feel like they made it seem like it was such a huge deal that like everyone else had to be like out of camp or whatever. But I honestly think that Kelly could have just like accidentally dropped her shoe underneath the thing or something, and no one would think it would be weird for her to go crawling under there to grab her shoe, or like something dropped between the slats.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Kelly Wentworth is so lucky. Both San Juan del Sur people have 2 idols now. Like, they need to share the love with Keith. Just give him an idol so they can all season 29 having all the idols. But
I just think it would be so interesting if they were in the same alliance, because then at some point their alliance would have had access to 3 immunity idols, and like that would have been wow. I think it's a lot more interesting to see people with idols playing against each other than playing with each other.
I know, I feel like that could be something that comes up next week in the 4-4 split, since there's 8 people left. And also, Kelly Wentworth's idols, I feel, were a lot harder to get than Jeremy's idols.
Yeah, because Jeremy,
He just walks out into the forest, and there it is.
I think that Jeremy's first idol was a lot harder to get just because people were actually looking at him at the
Mm,
time at which he was trying to untie the idol. Like with Wentworth, everyone else was obsessed with like looking at what was happening with the rest of the challenge.
yeah. Yeah, so Jeremy playing the idol at the first tribal, so it got returned to the game, and now like a random person could get it, so like you don't know where the idol is. Like, so when Jeremy has two idols, like you know that they're both with you, but now, so I don't know, like playing the idol, then you've got to like go and try to find it again, or else like someone you don't want to get it will get it, and that could ruin some things in the plans.
Yeah. So then we went on to the immunity challenge after the reward challenge, in which Stephen revealed to Jeremy and Tasha what his advantage was. And Spencer won, and I was so excited because I thought this is the week where Joe is getting out.
Didn't we all? We all guessed that last week. Like the second episode, Joe is going to lose and then he's going to get out. We were close. He lost immunity, but he did not get out.
I thought that the girls would be a lot better at the feet thing just because they have smaller feet, so like easier to maneuver, but really Wentworth was the only girl who was doing like really well in that challenge.
Yeah, I guess you don't really practice like building, stacking things with your feet often. So I don't know. We got to practice that, it seems like.
Yeah, for our
But yeah,
survival run.
Spencer wins. So should we go on to predictions for next week?
Yeah, why not?
Okie dokies. You can go first.
Didn't I go first last time?
No, I went first saying Joe, so now it's your turn.
So, Jeremy still has his idol, even though right now I think it's, with the way things have been going, it's 5-3 and not really like 4-4. So I'm not sure how that's gonna work out. I feel like people are gonna either try to get rid of Abby or they're gonna try to get rid of Tasha. And of the two of them, I would think that people would be more willing to get rid of Abby just because they are so done with all of her crap. Like, we saw it this past episode, but like every week they have to reassure her and be like, no, Abby, it's not you. No, Abby, it's not you. No, Abby, it's okay, honey. And like, I think that that can be really exhausting. Like, you don't want to have someone who you have to like always be taken care of because that distracts you from the other people that actually need your attention.
So you think Abby?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, like 5-3, so it'd be maybe the alliance of three. So it'd be Jeremy, and then Kimmy, and then Tasha, and then the other five, would it be like Wentworth, Abby, Joe, Keith, and Spencer?
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like Spencer's sort of like in the middle of both, maybe, because if Jeremy doesn't realize like that Spencer's one of the ones who flipped, then since they did trust him a lot last episode, they might try to like get him back to make it like a 4-4 kind of thing. But then if you're already in the numbers, I don't know if Spencer would want to like risk it and go with like the losing side, unless I was sort of thinking, you know, if they targeted Jeremy, who his name has never even been brought up yet, really, because even in like their backup plan last week, they said if Fish wins immunity, let's take out Tasha. So it's really weird that no one wants Jeremy. So his like shield plan is working really well. So I feel like if they targeted Jeremy next week, just because I feel like Jeremy is in a little hot seat because he doesn't really have a lot of people left and his right-hand man is gone. He needs to like mend some fences. If they do Jeremy, and then Jeremy might play his idol, and then they could idol out someone on the other side. But then I don't know if they would like split the votes. I don't know. It's really like 8 people. So, and it's the family visit. Joe said before that he just wanted to get to the family visit the first time, so he was bummed out that time. So, yeah, good for him. And the medical emergency. Who do you think? I feel like Spencer's going to get hit in the head with those blocks. Hopefully he won't get concussed, but it looks sort of like that the block is going to fall and, like, knock someone out.
I have no idea. But, like, part of the reason why I think Abby's gonna get out is, like, if it is 5-3, or even if it is 4-4, or if it's 4-3 with a swing, like, they're still gonna have sort of the numbers advantage, even if they vote out Abby, and they're not gonna have all that extra work. I realized I never actually explained why I said Abby. But, yeah, hopefully the medical emergency won't result in an evacuation.
Yeah, I hope the person doesn't get too hurt and can still continue. But yes, so I'll say maybe, I don't know, they'll target Jeremy. Jeremy will use his idol. Then they'll take out someone on the other side. And then who would they want to take out? Like I don't know, maybe Wentworth, but then Wentworth could use her idol. Then what'll happen? I'm conflicted now.
Just choose.
I don't know. I don't want to say Abby also because, yeah, I'll say Abby also because
You need to stop saying the same thing as me.
we always pick the same ones now. But yeah, if they do like take her out on the other side, they wouldn't think she has the idol, so like people probably wouldn't play it for her. So it's an easy like get her off. Yay.
Yep, so that's what we think is going to happen next week. As we said before, please put your MVP in the comments below.
Down below.
We can talk about that, and yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for watching and commenting and subscribing and all of that. We really appreciate it, and like we really love doing this and just talking about the show. So next week, what time are we doing? Friday at 9:30 Eastern?
Yep, Friday
Okay,
at 9:30 Eastern, and
we'll
there will be no technical difficulties.
Yes.
So we love you. Happy Saturday. Have a great week. See you soon. Mwah.